You notice the butterfly sitting on the flower petal. You notice the squirrels in the tree playing, and you take time to sit there and watch them for a bit. I've done a video of this in the past. Can you be Amish? Can you join the Amish? Of course, yes, you can. That's the short answer. You can join the Amish. However, I would not advise it, and here's why. First, I'm going to tell you how to join the Amish church, and then we'll get into why I would not advise it. And I'll share how you can live like the Amish without being Amish. If you want to become a member of the Amish church, all you have to do is go find the Amish community you want to join. I would suggest a more liberal one. It would probably be easy. I don't know if the strict ones will let an outsider join them, but the more liberal ones will be way more open to it. So I'm thinking, the big communities would be Holmes County, Ohio area, probably Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Northern Indiana. Those are the big ones. There's more. Go find an Amish. If you're a man, you should always talk to men. You should never go talk to women about this. You should always go through the man. So if you're a man, and if you're a woman, vice versa, go find an Amish woman who's out working or something and swing by, stop in. If you're a man, go find another Amish man who's working in the field, or you see him in town or something. You just say, hey, look, I am seriously wanting to join the Amish church. I want to know, how do I do it? How do I join the Amish church? Would you guys allow it? How? And that man will tell you, well, you'll have to go talk to the bishop. He might say, no, we don't allow it. Then you have to find another community. But if he says, yes, we allow it. It's hard, but we allow it. First, you have to go find the bishop and ask him where to find the bishop. He will send you to the bishop of the church. Now, the bishop doesn't decide whether you can join or not. He just will put things in motion. So if you go to the bishop and he thinks you're sincere enough and all that, then he will tell you that there's going to be a period. It's 9 Sundays, I think, that you have to go through these classes. What you'll do is you'll just Sunday mornings, they have church every other Sunday. Sunday mornings, you'll go to church dressed Amish with an Amish haircut. So it might take you some time to grow your hair out or whatever. But you'll go to church on Sunday morning, and as they start the first song, the bishop and the ministers go up to another room to do their little thing, decide who's preaching that day, and just go over some things, and you'll follow them up there. And this is the classes that you'll be taking. So then they'll go over the rules and the beliefs and all that stuff. And you'll do that for 9 Sundays in a row. This whole time, you're going to have to live like an Amish person. You're going to have to, can't be driving your car. You can't be having any electricity. You have to live like an Amish person. And if you don't veer off the path and do something stupid and worldly, they will baptize you into the Amish church. And when you get baptized in the Amish church, that day you will be making a promise that you will abide by the Amish. You will be a member of the Amish church and abide by those rules for the rest of your life. A promise, more like an oath. And then you're Amish. You're in. This has happened. Recently, a minister, a preacher, Amish preacher, I think from Topeka, Indiana, died. When he was young, he fell in love with a little Amish girl. Well, I'm assuming here that she said, and she loved him, obviously, probably, but she said, I'm staying Amish. I can't leave the Amish. If you want to marry me, you have to be Amish. This I'm all assuming. But anyway, he did. He, as a completely non-Amish man, joined the Amish church, married this girl, and became a preacher, a well-liked preacher in the Amish church. So, that is hard. you have to learn a new language. The hardest thing I think about becoming Amish is the language. If you don't know how to speak Pennsylvania Dutch, you're going to feel left out whenever you're together with friends and family, because that is their most used language. It's what they prefer to use. It's the easiest thing for them to use. And yeah, that's the biggest barrier. In my opinion, it is far easier for men to join the Amish church than it would be for a woman. Women coming from an outside world, now stepping into men don't have probably don't have such a big problem with feeling left out or not being or feeling like they're not as included, even though the Amish might do their best to help them. The men will still feel a little left out sometimes because of that language barrier, because they didn't grow up with the ways. When you grow up Amish, you just have their ways, and nobody else has that outside of the Amish community. So there's just that difference. But when a woman tries to join, I think they like to feel more included, feel more like the group, and they just stand out like a sore thumb. First of all, you have to learn how to humbly submit to your husband and take on the role of a housewife, or even if you're not married at the time, but you have to be okay with the idea that men, they lead. They are the rulers of the family, right? They don't care so much about the house, but then you have to just take in that step, and you have to serve. You have to cook and clean and do all that for the men. That's just how it is. And I think it'd be hard for women to, although good for them, be hard for them to transition into that and be okay with that. Some anyway, maybe not all women. So that's how you do it. And then that's your life. You chose it. That's your life. There's people who have done it. There's videos out there of people who have done it for 5-10 years, and then they checked out. They tried their best, but they just couldn't. There is such a difference between, there's whole families who've joined the Amish, but there's such a difference between Amish and the non-Amish that you're just never really gonna fit in. A single guy like this guy, I think his name was Steve. Him by himself getting married to an Amish woman, for sure. She probably helped him a lot understanding things, and he must have just fit in well. But a non-Amish family joining the Amish church, or non-Amish woman joining the Amish church, it's going to be really hard, and I would not advise it at all. You probably won't make it, because you're just still going to be so different. Your thinking is going to be different because you had completely different childhoods. It's just you're just never going to fit into that mold. Here's why I wouldn't advise you to join the Amish. First and foremost, biblically, they aren't accurate. That should be a number one concern. If you're a believer, if you're a Christian who studies, who seeks truth of Scripture, you're never going to be able to be Amish. You won't. If you're a born again believer, that is not an option for you. Even if you would join, God would soon show you. The Holy Spirit would soon show you that things aren't consistent here, and He would lead you right back out of that community into truth. Here's what I would do. If you want to live like the Amish, here's what you do. I'm assuming you're going to have a house in the country. You could do this in the city, but let's assume you have a house in the country. And you have a family. You, your wife, or your wife and your husband, you and your husband with children, maybe not yet. in jobs. First off, the wife, get rid of the job. If you have kids in the house, if you're older and the kids are out of the house, it's okay if the women can go work. But if you want to live like the Amish and there's kids in the house or you're going to planning on having kids, the wife needs to stay at home to raise the kids, to cook and bake and prepare foods, canned foods, garden, all that stuff. She needs to take care of everything. You know, they have a full-time job working at home, just doing that. And you're going to do everything you can to save money so that your husband, who's working, bringing in an income, uh, isn't pressured so much. So you're as a wife, you're gonna take the money he gives you and make it go as far as you can by canning, gardening, and all that stuff. Bulk food buying so that you can mix your own seasonings and stuff like that. You're gonna get rid of. You could get a horse and buggy if you wanted. Trade in your cars and get a horse and buggy. If you do get a horse and carriage, and you don't live in an Amish community, it's a little harder. It's going to be a little harder for you because the grocery stores and the different businesses will not have hitching racks for you. You'll have to find telephone poles and stuff to tie your horse to. But if you don't want or don't have the property, you're going to need about 3 acres for a horse and a barn. So if you don't have that, I would advise you to don't get the horse and buggy. Just go down to one car. And if you want to be really serious about it, get rid of your cars and get e-bikes. Many families, newlyweds in Ohio, aren't even buying. They're not even putting up barns on their. When they get married, they buy a house. They're not putting up barns. They're not getting horses. They simply have e-bikes. They're allowed to have e-bikes out there. They go 20, 30 miles with them, and it's way cheaper than feeding a horse year round and using them 3 times a week. In the wintertime, it gets cold, but you just bundle up and you take your e-bike. And if you have to go so far, or it's so cold that you don't want to travel with your e-bike, you hire a driver, somebody, a non-Amish person, to drive you there and pick you up and bring you home. You just pay them. They would have to do that with a horse and buggy anyway, because it'd be too far for the horse, or it's just too cold to get a horse out there. And so yeah, you have to hire a driver anyway. What that does is, when you don't have a vehicle, what that does is it grounds you at home more. So now, when you're at home with your family, you're not just making quick trips everywhere. You're going to make these trips. You're going to make these trips count. So when the wife needs something at Walmart, or somebody has an eye doctor appointment, and it's too far away, you would hire somebody to drive you to that eye doctor appointment, or you would take your e-bike, and then while you're there, you would do some grocery shopping that you need, or you would stop at other stores that you need, instead of running to town 4 times a day like we do. It grounds you at home more. You can get more done. You spend more time with your family doing that. And you might say, well, what about the husband's work? How does he get to work? Well, e-bike, or he has a co-worker pick him up and he pays him $5 a ride, $4 a ride. Amish people around here in Indiana who work in the RV factory, they pay $4 to $5 per ride. So $5 in, $5 home. That's $10 a day, $50 a week. Many young Amish kids in Rumspringa drive minivans, and they take 5 to 6 people to work every morning and bring them home every night. That's a nice little extra check for them at home, or when they get, at the end of the week. So you can do that. This would be one of, if you want to live like the Amish, this would be one of the key things you need to do. Probably the most important thing. The second most important thing you need to do is just ditch the electricity. Get rid of the electricity in your home. Flip the breakers. You don't need to cut it out. You don't, just flip the breakers. If you do that, There's no radio plugged in. There's no hum of a refrigerator. There's no. Um, you can get gas refrigerators. You can get whatever. You got to figure that out. Maybe you leave the electricity on just for your well pump, but you can get the tool. You can get lights, tool battery lights. So you get a bunch of Makita, Milwaukee batteries. You plug them into, like the Amish do around here, plug them into the LED lights, and that is your lighting in the house. It would be easier just to leave the switches in and turn the lights on. But basically, have electricity if you want it. Just get rid of the TVs, the internet, all that. If you need internet, go to the library. Get rid of your cell phones. Have a one home phone. You don't need more. Get rid of it. You want to live like the Amish? Cut those ties. Hard one. Very hard one. Just like getting rid of cars. Very hard. Reminding me of the cars. If you could probably stick with one car as a family. You only have one car. That means your husband probably still has to find a way to work and leave the car at home for the wife in case there's an emergency with one of the kids. She can run them to the doctor really quick. But when you only have one car, once again, you make the trips count. You do things as a family. You know, the wife can't run to Walmart and you run to the hardware because you only have one car. So you go together, stop at the hardware, go grocery shopping, stop at whatever else, and come home as a family. You spend time together as a family. Those would be the two biggest changes in your life. Get rid of transportation. Get rid of electronics, cell phones. If it was me, I would leave the electricity on. I would have my refrigerator. I would have the well pump on electricity, and I would have the lights on electricity. But if you really want to live like the Amish, AC's got to go. Get some wood heat in there. No furnace. Wood furnace would be great. The grid goes down, you still have heat. Gas stove. Third way is simplify your clothing. Ladies, all dresses. Nothing else. Skirts, shirts maybe, dresses. It makes you more feminine. It makes you more feminine in public. I bet you get respected more wearing dresses in public. And there's fashionable dresses. You don't have to look like a prairie woman. Not the short ones. Dress modestly. Husbands, keep it simple. Pair of pants, jeans, button shirts. Dress gets simple. You don't have to worry about fashion so much because you're wearing dresses every day or you're wearing button shirts every day. Very simple. Grow your garden. Stay at home. Do more work. Just work your property. Work your property. Have campfires on a Friday night, Saturday night with family. Invite some friends over for food. That's how the Amish do it. It's not hard, guys. You can live like the Amish. You just got to have the strength to say no and self-discipline to say no to all these conveniences that we have. You know, everything changes. Everything changes when you don't have a TV running in your house and everybody's sitting in front of it. When we have a TV, we grab a plate of food and we go sit in front of it. And I'll just watch while I eat. Well, what happens is that turns into just another half hour after you're done eating, and then another half hour after you're done eating. They just keep going, and before you know it, it's the end of the day. With Amish, that's not it. You don't have a TV, so you eat, and then you need to do something. So you could grab a book and read the rest of the evening, or you can go get some more work done. Clean up the yard, fix this, fix that, clean the house, or Sundays. That's another thing. Number 4, take Sundays off or take Saturday off, which is the actual Sabbath. Take it off. Don't do anything but what you and your family want to do. Which means now that you don't have a TV, you can read books if you want, or you can sit down and you can play board games. Great interaction with family. You can go for walks with your family. You can do leisure. You do leisure stuff. You go to the park. You go travel for the day. That all makes a difference. And then when you don't have a car and your whole family's pedaling, biking somewhere, it's different. You actually can, or you're walking more or somewhere or something, you can stop. Life is going slow enough that you can stop and once again notice the small things. You notice the butterfly sitting on the flower petal. You notice the squirrels in the tree playing, and you take time to sit there and watch them for a bit. It's those tiny little simple things. When you're growing a garden, you watch this grow. You watch this amazing little seed grow into a big plant that fruits. Your life changes drastically, changes quite a bit and for the better. I would advise anybody to live like the Amish. Just don't be Amish. I'm CJ. This is the Amish Potato. We'll see you next time.